Okie dokie, we are here live with the one and only Jordan Lempe.
That's me.
Yeah, thank you for
That's
coming
me.
on, my man.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time coming.
I've never done this before.
Yeah.
Using my words to express my being
Exactly.
to people.
And I'm stoked to give you this platform because you're a one of a kind. And so just some context, Jordan and I are homies. We know each other because he tattoos me and he gave me all this sick shit on my arm. Basically all of it. It's a product of this legend and his creative mind right here.
Well, not just me. It's been a very collaborative approach.
And we will talk about that because I think it's so interesting to me. It's like to let go of some of that control as an artist. Huge. And to tap into my vision and to have that sort of experience where we're jamming off each other. You know what I mean? It's like we're playing instruments with that creative, like visual, artistic mind.
Absolutely. While both of us kind of being open to something else entering. Mm-hmm. We're riffing and we're tossing ideas back and forth. But what I gathered early on was that you were pretty open to just something else happening, something creative in the moment.
Totally.
Coming through our conversations.
Well, bro, I love your fucking style. Like, dude, so anyone listening to this, I would highly recommend following this man. He makes the craziest art on people. I love your motto too. It's permanent markings for impermanent beings.
Yeah.
It's so valid.
Yeah.
And tattoos are, I think, one of the coolest expressions that human beings can make to get something permanently put on your skin, to express something. It's expressing like an image, an imaginal figure, and you get to deck people out with that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like coming into the tattoo studio with this image in mind. For instance, what did I want first? Was it the bird? Maybe it might have been the bird.
Did we start with the bird?
I think
we were talking snake and bird.
Yeah.
Fire element.
Totally.
I can't even remember where we start. You're the kind of client that you come in with like a bunch of ideas, and then we kind of boil that down to sort of what's like the energy.
Exactly.
And then at a certain point, we just started drawing directly on your skin and seeing what happens.
This dance, because I have this expectation of like, I want a bird framing this eyeball thing, this eyeball Om sun on my shoulder. I wanted the bird to frame it. And then it's like a process of, I have this intention, I have this image. So it's like, I want that, but then I want to let go into your creative, honestly, I would say genius to flow through you. And that's what you're so good at is, and we talked about this on the way to the studio today, is actually getting out of your own way and not being attached to the outcomes, which is so beautiful and a microcosm for life, I would say. How do we get out of the way?
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, contextually, people are showing up, throwing you a bunch of money to get this permanent marking on you. Like, how could that not be a little bit stressful?
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy the amount of, it's amazing the amount of trust people come in with. I don't know. It's interesting. It's cool being in this context of like this thing that you're doing with the podcast. You're hosting this environment where creativity can happen.
Yeah.
Initially, our relationship was started in my context where it's like, we're just like letting something through, but letting go of, totally letting go of control.
It's like a co-creative process.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, applies to everything in life.
Yeah.
Where, like we were talking about before, we can view all of life as art. All of life. Not just tattooing or like visual art or making music. It's all art. And at that point, how do we step out of the way? How do we set intentions for our lives and then let them go? Because that's when something, I think, profound actually comes through us. The being that we were before we called it Ben or Jordan. Who were we before we gave it that label? These names, how they solidify into, again, the ego. When we step out of the way, it's like the small egoic self is forced to step aside so that the hands of the real artist can take over.
And tattooing has really taught me that more than any other art form in my life. I've always been a creative person since I was a little kid. I was painting, I was drawing, I was making music. But there's something about with tattooing, it's a collaboration with another person that has slowly over the course of, I've been tattooing maybe 7 years now, has caused me to just let go more and more and more. I'd say when I was younger, my creativity was honestly built a little bit more around myself and a little bit more of like, who am I? What is my style?
Totally.
What kind of vibe do I feel attracted to in the world, and what do I want to put out there? And I feel so blessed. It's like where I'm at now is I've completely forgotten or just let go of what my style is, or even what I want a thing to look like, to the point where most of the time when my clients come in, I have a vague idea. They have no idea what we're putting on them.
Really?
And I don't even have any idea what we're putting on them.
What an interesting place to be.
It's a very interesting place to be, and interesting that at this point it feels pretty comfortable.
You're in the void.
Yes.
You're in the not knowing.
Yes, and being okay with that. But it's taken a lot of work or letting go.
Yep.
Being willing to be in that unknown space and not knowing, like, I don't know if we're going to come up with something cool today. You know?
Yeah, right.
Like, I just don't know. Like, we're going to just open ourselves up and see what happens.
See what comes through.
And at the end of the day, like, if something's not clicking, we can come back to it another day.
Exactly.
Somehow that's never even happened.
Isn't
like
that
maybe once in the last like 6 years, someone's come in and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, let's reschedule. It's not clicking.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird, but I'm just so grateful. And you know, meeting you and working on this tattoo was at a pivot point where I was being asked to let go on a level that I wasn't quite comfortable yet, allowing you to really like input a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And before that point, I was a little bit more comfortable having a little bit more say,
more control.
Like give me one or
For
two
sure.
ideas and then just let me do my thing.
So interesting.
But our process has been very like organically, both of us the whole time, which has given way. Like I could not have just drawn this thing up.
Dude, yeah.
And just planned it out like that, and then that would be the thing. Like this is a product of constant collaboration, which is, it's just cool. It's cool for me to be just as surprised about the way that it looks.
Dude, it came out so
sick.
sick.
You know?
And so it gives me the image. It's like, instead of playing guitar by yourself, it's like we're playing guitar with each other.
Yeah.
So what I'm actually playing is dependent on what you're playing. And then what you play is dependent on what I play. So we're almost entering into the more like a different, more expanded collaborative field where it's like, dude, I loved your art. Like I had an appointment with another artist. When you answered my email, I just instantly canceled it because I was like, I want Jordan for sure. Cool. That's the image. And so
what do you think it is that drew you to my art specifically?
Dude,
if you could name.
Yeah, it has what I would call soul. It's dark. It's archetypal. It's bold. It's like, it makes a statement. You know what I mean? It doesn't just blend into the skin. Like this is like profound. So it's like, if you're watching video on the podcast, you can kind of see me showing my sleeve that Jordan mostly did. And like, dude, looking at like my forearm, this is a snake. Dude, when we first did the outline, it was just bare bones, nothing there. I was like, oh, I don't like it. And then I came to the next session. We put these little prongs on my hand. And then you blessed me with some of the craziest shit I've ever seen on this forearm, where I'm like, dude, I don't even know how you did it, dude. I remember seeing you do it and I was like, yeah. And I was like, let's go.
It's funny because like me neither. I don't know. I had kind of like a basic flow idea and you were probably like, I don't know. But then
blessed me, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm obsessed with shapes. I know I like to like work in these little areas and find shapes that kind of go well together. Right. I'm obsessed with like just adornment in general. Yeah. That word I feel like encompasses so much. And going back to the like, you know, this whole experience of life being about creation and beauty, and adornment seems to be just such an underlying theme of everything. I mean, adornment of temples, of adorning time with music.
Yes,
like,
bro.
It's just this thing that, I mean, I think nature is just doing is just creating shape and fractal and form in all these like variety of ways. And so I don't know, just it's been cool to just like align my life to what nature is doing and just work. It's like I'm I'm just putting the next triangle in.
Totally.
And I don't know how the whole thing is.
Dude.
I don't know.
And again, do you see how this is such a microcosm for life? It reminds me of like deep Zen teachings, which is the whole point of Zen. There's a story where a student asks a master Zen monk teacher, what is the fruit of a lifetime of practice? And the teacher says, the proper response. Always. It's just the proper response. It's not the second guessing. It's life gives you an experience. It gives you a situation and you know the proper response. And actually the way that you know it is by opening to the void, opening to not knowing. And the body, again, the body, the mind, what we are before the ego, that takes over and it already knows what to do. You know what I mean? And there's that deep faith in letting go of the need to control. Because interestingly, what is driving that need to control is fear. And fear not only kind of tends to mess things up, it causes us to second guess ourselves. But like we were talking about on the drive over here, fear is actually the constructor of the ego. It's the constructor of the separate self. Because when you feel afraid, you can feel that in the central channel. You can feel the chest lock up, the throat gets tight, the stomach gets tight. Your energy has condensed into that central channel of your being. And then we get this also illusion that there is a me that has to be feeling this fear. It comes together. When fear is present, there's a real me that has to be afraid. And we were talking to this also, that the experience of the ego in a really trippy and obvious kind of way is actually a trauma response. It's a product of not knowing if you're going to survive. And obviously, evolutionarily, we need these bodies, these forms to survive. So if I don't feel some sense of fear for me, the separate self, then we're not going to make it very far evolutionarily. But it seems like as consciousness gets more and more purified and we start to lean into the fear and really look it in the eyes and ask, do I have to be afraid of this thing that I'm afraid of? Do I have to be? And recognize, oh, I don't have to fear death. I don't have to fear messing up. I don't have to fear fumbling over my words. It's actually, when you can finesse any of those experiences and keep going, you realize, again, that fear was all in your head. It's all in the mind.
Yes. And a lot of that, you know, we were riffing on this earlier, but like a lot of it is just remembering like what our real desire here is. It really is to create a life, to explore reality, to build relationships. And fear is just, oh, what if it won't work out the way that I want it to? And so for me, a lot of it's just been coming back to like, just what is my heart's desire? You know, just remembering that. Instead of trying to like attack the fear and be like, what, like challenge the fear. Sometimes it's just there. It's just the shadow of
desire. Of wanting something to turn out in a way that you like. Anytime I have a desire for things to go a certain way, by definition, there has to be also the fear of what happens if it doesn't go that way. They come together. And that's a part of, for me, I don't really buy into the traditional Buddhist teachings. I mean, Theravadan Buddhist teachings, which is that just let go of all desire and you'll be good. And that is true in a sense. You'll be deeply free. But also, I think there's a beauty in the suffering. There's a beauty of wanting your life to look a certain way, wanting this expression, this one of one unique expression of form that will never come again. We want something from it. And I'm getting chills saying this because who wants this unique expression to look, speak, act, behave a certain way? And if you get out of your own way, it's always been the source of creation, God, if you want to use that word, the ineffable. That's what's trying to live through us. That's what's trying to work through your art. That's what's trying to speak through our voices at any point. And the question is, can I actually expand my sense of self to include everything and nothing simultaneously, which is sort of what we are. It's void. It's the ineffable. So when we can adopt that mindset, we can let small Ben step aside. Because small Ben, the ego, is really, when we examine it, more of a subtle conceptual story where we feel in our bones there has to be a separate self here. There has to be a thinker of the thoughts. There has to be a feeler of their emotions. And actually Buddhism would say, why? Can there not just be thoughts? And we see thoughts as thoughts, not my thoughts. I see emotions, but they're not necessarily mine. Saying that my emotions are my emotions, I mean, that is actually an addition onto the experience. We're adding an ego, a feeler, an experiencer onto the experience, which is just blank canvas, baby. It's just creation flowing. And there doesn't have to be a you in a solid sense. And at that point, again, it's like this process of stepping out of the way to let the hands of God create what it wants to create. And this is, and you touched on this a little bit, and I want to spend more time with this notion of beauty. Because for me, people ask this very deep question, which is, what is the point of all of this? What is the point? Is it just to make money? Is it for, maximum high pleasure experiences? What's the point here? And I think it obviously, the answer will depend on the person. But I look at beauty as actually one of the main reasons we're here. The experience of beauty as far as receiving it and also constructing it. Because we're creating and discovering our world, our sense of self, and the myth of our lives. Because I love this more depth psychology approach influenced by Carl Jung, James Hillman, which views us as sort of art. James Hillman says, reality as we know it, as we experience it, is actually a fantasy that we have forgotten is a fantasy. So we think life just comes to us, not thinking that we're co-creating it. And the beauty really opens up when you're like, oh, this is all a co-creation. Everything I'm experiencing, my lack, my suffering, my shame, my guilt, and love, and joy, and beauty, it's a co-creation. And I think a big part of the trap in modernity is this dogma that comes with just experience in general, where we solidify our worldview, our experience, our sense of self. We say, this is really how things are. And to the untrained mind, that seems obvious. Of course, it's the way things are. And this is what the Buddhists would call the nirmanakaya. So this is one of the three worlds. This is the world of appearance, where average people that don't have, in my mind, actually a pretty profound sense of self-awareness, just assume this is how things are. It's like natural, right? But the more self-awareness we get and the more awareness of mind we get, we see, I'm creating this. So they have the Nirmanakaya, the world of appearance, then the Sambhogakaya, which is what they call the realm of power. This is where reality is much more fluid, where things like magic, transcending time and space, like certain saints in all sorts of religious traditions have been said to be able to do. So that's a Sambhogakaya. And then you have in Buddhism, the Dharmakaya. That is sort of the white light of being, the void, the emptiness. And we traverse those realms all the time. But just planting that seed in somebody's mind, that is, how are you so sure that reality is real? How are we so sure that I'm real? It seems that way, but what gives me that impression? Is it because I'm in this body, the stories, the solidity that we tend to give to things that tends to trap us? So anyways, getting back to this notion of beauty, I always ask myself, what is life without beauty? Dark, scary, not a life worth living. And you see the impact of the current paradigm of consciousness that is rooted in individualism, making money, capitalism. And you see these prolific structures we make. And what are they? They're skyscrapers. They're monuments to capitalistic paradigms. Look at the past. People were investing so much time and energy into the construction of cathedrals, of temples, of beautiful places. Because if you've ever been in a cathedral or a temple, you can feel how that setting actually starts to shape perception in a certain way, where there's innately reverence. Like I was in Notre Dame. You know what I mean? So you see how the setting is actually constructing a perception. And that's the thing. That's where beauty comes in.
And I think too, it's also just paying reverence to the fact that life really is this creation of beauty. It's not like, oh, we should think of it as beautiful. It just is beautiful. Like I kind of think of our reality as like this refraction of light. So if you picture like a prism, you have just white light that goes into it, and what comes out is this refraction, this separation of that white light into all these different bands of frequency. And so I kind of see like life is like this You know, it's just this seed of consciousness or life force that's been put into the prism of our universe that has these certain rules and physical laws about it. And out comes this separation of like God into all of these different facets, all these different variations. And so every person and even every experience we have is just a refraction of that white light.
Yeah.
And that is just, I mean, that's beautiful. And that's you know, and so I think, yeah, for me, that's the compass that I live my life by, is like, what is in harmony?
Yes.
Is my thought and action in harmony with the other, you know, bands of light of experience, you know? And that's why I feel like for a lot of us, you know, people who consider ourselves like seekers or, you know, trying to come to a sense of truth, a lot of it comes back down to this word community, to relationship. How are we conducting ourselves in relationship? You know, I've chosen this path of creativity, I think, as a way to explore, you know, reality as beauty and being in harmony with those things. And the more and more I do it, the more clear it becomes. It's really just about finding a medium for connection and harmony for people.
Totally. I love that word connection. And I think we can tie that back into the beauty element, which is, can there be beauty without connection?
Yeah.
Me connecting with a beautiful image, person, experience.
Because like, to me, it seems like so, you know, going back to just your tattoo, you know, how we met.
Right.
It's like, there's this tattoo, this is like a piece of art. But from my experience and your experience, the primary aspect of it has been our collaboration. Totally. Literally the experience of being in the moment together, riffing and allowing this process to unfold. That is the primary art that's happened. This is sort of like this secondary, almost like residue.
Yeah.
This is like the residual, you know, the condensation maybe of like the process that we engaged in.
And it's trippy because these images, and the images on your skin too, it's a product of a certain flavor of consciousness. Do you know what I mean? Like, just like I love the sort of metaphor of your explore page being like a microcosm for your mind. You know what I mean? It's like where you're at a given time, check your explore page. And it's like with these images, it's like this is an expression of a certain degree of consciousness. You know what I mean? A certain flavor of consciousness that we pulled out of the void. Yeah. And again, the construction of beauty, and especially with the images on me, the images on your bodysuit, which is sick, by the way. You should flash that real quick. Can you flash onto Jordan just so you can show a little bit? Flash a hand. I mean, we're just getting started with this because it's full body. Yeah, you're getting your ass cheeks.
That's next.
That's next.
That's
literally
in a couple weeks.
But this notion of beauty, like if you look at the images on my arm, they're not necessarily light. You know, they're kind of dark, and there's a direct relationship between the darkness and beauty, actually. And for me, this artistic expression of darkness that's now on my arm forever, up my neck and otherwise, it helps me in my mind actually to honor that darkness. Where I feel like we live in a world that is so conditioned to push away difficult experiences, to push away scary, not knowing, uncertainty, all of these things. We push them away, and all of a sudden we are constructing suffering out of the darkness. When if you spend enough time in the darkness, in those difficult experiences, you can start to find the light in them through honoring them in praise of that darkness. And that's where I think, that's why I fuck with your art.
Yeah,
bro.
And it's like, what is darkness?
Right.
It's just, I mean, it makes me think of just like density, maybe. It's, you know, a place of density, and like in so many ways, this reality that we live in, this 3-dimensional construct, is very dense. Totally. And seemingly like full of shadow. I mean, that's how we see form, is through seeing like shadows. Totally. Not just the light, but we see the shadow and the form.
We need both.
That's what creates dynamic, and it creates beauty. And so really honoring that, you know.
And Carl Jung talks about in the depth psychological definition of shadow, it's the unintegrated parts of self. So what makes it a shadow is not that it's inherently bad or scary, it's that it's not integrated. And so is life. And this is the tantric perspective on life, where there's nothing here that can harm you other than your own mind. So try to find the light in the darkness when you can really sink your teeth into that practice.
Yeah.
That thing that we thought was dark, that shadow, it actually transforms.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be afraid of. And I mean big things like death.
Yeah.
What happens when we die? I mean, what about if my life is a train wreck? What if I'm a failure?
Yeah.
What if I'm never enough? Spend time with that. Spend time with those internal psychological experiences. Sink your teeth into that darkness and honor it. And interestingly, then it transforms.
Yeah.
Where I've talked about this a lot in my own path.
Dude, that's been the case for me too. Like when there's rupture in my life, whether it's a death or a relationship, and I'm actually currently going through like a pretty rough part of my life where there was the loss of a really important relationship and loss of more of the vision of having a family, being a dad, and that took like a totally took a left turn.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful to be in this place where I can reach out to community to hold that with me. I can acknowledge that that's what's happening instead of just running from it, numbing out like I maybe have done in the past. And it's interesting when I come into places of life like this, my creativity naturally starts to just unlock and unfold in this organic way, because there's this humbling thing about the darkness that, acknowledging the fear and acknowledging the like ugliness, like really just looking the ugly feelings and the ugly shit like in the face and saying, I acknowledge that this is part of it.
You honor that. And
all of a sudden the light is right there too.
Exactly.
It's right. It's brighter than ever, And so, it's led to, it's weird. It's like in this season, my personal life has been like, in many ways, like felt like it's totally fallen apart.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the tattoo projects and the, sleeves that are, it's like things are just completely, I am like completely out of the way at this point.
Yeah. Surrendered.
And what's happening is like beauty is just coming back. It's just, it's the most, I don't know. It's just happening. And I just feel so blessed,
Totally.
It's this giving up of like, this is how I wanted my life to go, or this is how I wanted this tattoo to look. Because what just is and what just happens organically, naturally, without my like making it happen is a lot more beautiful.
Dude. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. And I think that's huge, because we all go through darkness as human beings. Anyone who says otherwise is probably either lying or not quite all there. It's a part of the human experience. And it's a beautiful part of the human experience. And I'm going to lay out a little framework that I think is really interesting in regards to what we were talking about with contraction.
Let's go.
Yeah, bro. So
see this framework.
Let's look at it like this, just from the lens of the physical body. When you feel contractions, tightness in your muscles, and you go to a yoga class, or you do Tai Chi, or you just stretch in general, you move your body, there's the movement of that contraction in the physical body where, my hips hurt. So I sit in pigeon pose for 5 minutes and things feel looser. The mind loosens. And actually that contraction in the physical body, we can view it as free flowing chi. So it's free flowing energy. It's still just energy. It's just locked up in a tight place. So when you work it out, when you stretch out that energy, there's a release of free flowing chi. Then that affects your creativity, that affects your mind, your mental mood, you know what I mean? Your physical body. And the same is true with the contractions in the psyche. When I have trauma that I have been holding for years, it could be some little thing. I got embarrassed in high school and I haven't told anyone about it, and it's dark, or, losing somebody that you love. It can be really profound trauma. And the mind unconsciously actually contracts. It pushes away that experience of everyone laughed at me in high school. We push that away and thus actually solidify and contract it. And we solidify that free flowing chi in the psyche into this solid, dense thing. It is still chi. It's just energy. So when we can get in there, psychologically speaking, and metaphorically massage those knots by spending time with that pain, by honoring the darkness, interestingly, what we'll notice is there's a burst of free-flowing chi. When we exit the dark night of the soul, the darkest periods of our life, and we're able to, again, look these demons in the eyes and transmute them. Interestingly, what happens is that darkness, it opens up, it expands. All of a sudden, the light can get through. And you have so much more creativity, flow, awareness, energy. Because it's, and this is the play, the dance of expansion and contraction. There's nothing wrong with either. But it's like the fear, in a really zoomed out way, the fear, the trauma, the uncertainty, the contraction just makes it so much better when we finally loosen that contraction. And we come, and that's almost like we can zoom out very far to life and death, where we can say life in the physical form could be viewed as a contraction. We're contracted. We're in this very limited, very tight form. So death is the ultimate release into openness. Release into void. I mean, who actually knows what happens? But when we're dead, whatever we are, maybe is free into a much more expansive state of being.
Sounds nice,
right, dude? And
there's times when I do fear like death and like this experience being over. Sometimes I'm just liking it. I'm like, I like it here. I don't want it to end.
Valid.
But man, when we really accept the weight of all of it, of this contraction, it's like, sounds like, you know, Ram Dass was like, it's like taking off a tight shoe, death. You know, and like, yeah, it's nice. And when we can kind of have that grace with it, I think we can better we can be freer to create in this life, and to not have to follow these, you know, predetermined frameworks of what a human life is supposed to be. And you know, we're freer to feel all of it, because the things we really want, I think, are not just like pleasurable and like, you know, not even like always beautiful. Like a lot of times it feels ugly, you know, to face our like just the stuff that gets in the way from me being in good relationship to other people. Like I have a hard time texting people back in like, you know, some of my friends, they keep me accountable because
what's good?
They're like, dude, are you okay? Like, it's been 2 weeks. I texted you, you know?
Like,
and I'm just like, oh, like damn, I am like that, you know? And yeah, just like acknowledging those things. It's like, yeah, I'm more free. I'm more free to actually like grow and like actually get closer to people. And
totally. And
that's what it's all about.
And I think on the spiritual path, so many people are unconsciously assuming that the path has to look a certain way. It has to lead me to this. Interestingly, the image tends to be radical equanimity, lots of joy, freedom. But is that the only spiritual path? And actually, for me, on my journey in Asia, India, and then at Zen centers for about 2 years, I was doing so much sitting meditation, just letting go of everything, because I was in this point of, I just want to figure this shit out. I've seen enough of this material world to think, for me, it was like, if this is it, I've had enough. Like, this can't be it. And eventually I went on that spiritual path, and the mind became very still through just working on farms. I'm not doing shit. I wake up at sunrise, I work all day, I meditate a bunch, and I do yoga, and I play guitar. Simple, simple, simple. The mind starts to become, much more simple. And there's organically in that experience a lot more space for light to get through. And when I say light, I mean beauty, I mean joy, I mean all the things that we actually crave. They're already here when we can slow down enough to see them. And we get so caught up in the mental stories, in the mental notion of self, the just the things going on in life. We're so fixated on the things that we forget the backdrop, which is an inexplicable miracle. Anyone who says otherwise is really trapped in a contraction in my mind, because you can never put your finger on what is going on right now. Beyond language, beyond conceptuality, what is this? And stay there. Put the mind on that and stay there for a little bit, and it will start to dawn on you the profundity of our situation right here. And that is nourishment for the soul. But bringing this full spectrum, I was on that path long enough, and things became very beautiful, where I could look at the stars and be brought to tears, completely sober for this 2 years plus. And just with a still mind, you can just come to that point of miracle. And what does it do in the being? It's profound. But for me, it's like, is this all that I want? This profundity, this absolute beauty, this peace, this stillness, this equanimity with life, death, high, low, success, failure, it doesn't matter. I cultivated such a deep sense of okayness. But for me, there's like a necessity actually in the suffering. It's recognizing, again, this life is art, this life is theater. And what kind of story would it be if there's no highs and lows, if there's no trials and tribulations? We are living art. And what my soul deeply craved, and again, this aligns with depth psychology, is to swan dive into the darkness.
Yeah.
And that's what that period of deep depression was for me. It was like, the soul's like, okay, we're going to break you open, but it's going to hurt. And you're going to find a way out. And that's the thing. The soul takes you there organically. And that's what we call oftentimes the dark night of the soul. I think it was St. John of the Cross or something who coined that term, but it exists in all cultures. The soul, what we are. And when I say soul in this context, it's not necessarily a form of self that transcends death, which is, again, the culturally conditioned Christian version of soul. When I say soul in the more depth psychology frame, it refers to the deepest parts of our being, what needs to be expressed. And exploring this enough, I'm like, the soul does not actually crave certainty. It doesn't even crave pleasure. The soul craves beauty. That's what it feeds on. And there's so much untapped beauty in the darkness. What a beautiful time to have that understanding as so many systems are collapsing.
Okay, so you went on these travels, you had this journey of like exploring and seeing beauty, and I met you, I don't know when I met you. Maybe it was like a few years after that or something.
2022?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah, so the spiritual journey that I took was like I started it in the beginning of 2020, which was trippy timing, right? As COVID was popping off. I was trapped in India for 4 months.
So you're like you're in your self experience. And since I've met you and heard and just kind of watched you moving since then, it's like you're going from this place of like ideas and reality, and to now you're like, I'm gonna like dig my claws into this reality and create a story.
Yeah.
And not even knowing like exactly what I want to create. And I don't know, I want you to riff on it, but like this is what I see in you is like, I'm gonna dive into desire. Knowing that there is going to be pain on the other side of that. I'm going to create, whatever opportunities are in front of me, Playgirl, whatever, social media, like thirst traps, fuck it. Send it. I'm just gonna like keep following this thing, and I'm not gonna attach my identity to it, but I'm gonna allow this like energy to happen and move through this, follow the excitement. And yeah, dude, it's been cool to watch. It's just like,
thank you.
There's this like fearless aspect of it.
And thank you for saying that.
Where you're just like, I don't know who I am, how I'm going to be perceived.
I
don't know. I'm sure, like, I know I've gone through a lot of like, how do people see me, with all these tattoos? Like, how do people think I'm like an aggressive person? Are they scared of me? I don't know, know, and I'm sure you've dealt with your own version of that in like entering this, this new realm of like podcasting and like being a I don't want to call you an influencer, but like you kind of
an influencer. It's hilarious.
Where like on some level how cringe that is.
I know.
To a lot of people.
I know.
But it's like, and I'm not calling you cringe.
No,
I'm just relating with you. Like a lot of people are just like, what the fuck? Who is this?
Yeah, bro.
Spiritual fuckboy.
Spiritual fuckboy. I mean, that's hilarious.
And then to like brand your podcast as that, I'm just like,
bro, it's fucking genius. It's fucking genius. And you know what allowed me to do that is getting out of my own fucking way.
Yeah.
Being like, spiritual fuckboy?
You're like,
it hits. It's hilarious. It's
like,
kind of a fucking brand. It's like, okay. It was given to me, bro. I didn't have a choice. It's like, literally. But thank you for saying all that. And it is this recognition, because I've spent so much energy, time, doing the practices, doing the retreats, getting faced on every psychedelic I could get my hands on to try to figure this shit out. And eventually I got to the point of, I don't know if it's possible. Again, how do I pin what I am? And in a deep sense.
And that was never the point, to like figure it out. It's to go on a journey.
Exactly. That's what I see in hindsight.
Yeah.
When I was hella depressed, it definitely was to try to figure it out.
Totally.
I need to get some relief from this fucking depression. And that's, again, the deeper I got on that path, the more I'm like, who is the real me? Because, for instance, one experience I had, I was doing a retreat in the Rocky Mountain Eco Dharma Center. My homie had given me like 5 grams of mushrooms. I was just holding them for years, but I just had them. And we did like 4 days of sitting. And then we did sort of like I forget, like maybe like a vision quest. I forget the term they use for it, but we're in the woods in a solo place camping by ourselves for the next 3 days. And I also decided to fast. So I'm off 3 days of fasting. And then I take these 5 grams of mushrooms. And I had this recognition of this whole spiritual path. It's all been for me. It's all my freedom, my peace, my enjoyment, my liberation. It's all me. And I was like, wait, this seems limited. And I was like, what if I could find a way to give? And that's actually what ended that phase of my spiritual path, where it stepped out of the very self-centered spiritual path, which is not objectively wrong. It has a place and actually a necessity. But this aligns more with Mahayana Buddhism and this bodhisattva ideal. So bodhisattva, I think, translates as like awakened servant. And the whole image is that these beings actually forego their own complete ultimate liberation to let all other beings go first. So the bodhisattva is sort of ushering all beings into nirvana before they step in. And that kind of relationship to life, where it's not about me, is actually interestingly and sort of counterintuitively furthering you on the path. Where it's like the sense of self when I'm being of service to others just organically gets looser, because I'm not acting in service of this image, this story of ego. And it reminds me of this beautiful quote where one teacher said that the problem with modernity is that 99% of what everyone does is for themselves. And that self actually doesn't exist. So we tend to get fucked.
Yeah, dude. I experienced that to a huge degree. Everyone does.
Yeah.
But like being, I have addiction in my past. It runs in my family. And like, that's like that times 10. It's just serving the self. Just like, how can I feel better about myself? How can I feel better in my body? And like, how can I just like kind of tweak my neurochemistry a little bit to feel better?
Right.
And since being sober and going on this like totally other path of like, how can I create a life that's built on being helpful?
Totally.
That's just been, I feel so much better. It's crazy.
What I've found is when you're in service to others, again, you're not acting for this made up belief of ego. You're acting in service to something bigger than yourself. And you can say it's community. You can say it's other people. You can say it's God. No matter what it is, though, if you're acting from a place of selflessness, that constructed experience of a separate self starts to fade. And all of a sudden, so too do the problems associated with the self, the insecurities, the I'm not enough. All of that starts to fade when I'm in service to others, which is so fucking profound and counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Because when you're trapped in that illusion of ego, you think what I need to be happy is more for me, obviously. Like I saw this in my depression. It's like I need something. So it's a me. And that actually kind of tightens that cramp in the psyche. Me. And all of a sudden it gets tighter, more real, more unworkable. When I start to act in service to something bigger than myself, everything becomes more loose and malleable and workable. Yeah. And so
it's hard to remember though. We're like
it's
wired.
Practice.
We're definitely wired towards like taking care of ourselves. And so like I have to say a prayer every morning and it's the same prayer. And it's basically like, relieve me of the bondage of self that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. And to actually like say that in repetition every day for me is like what's been working. And I've done a lot of I could be meditating every morning too, just to kind of quiet the mind and to create more stillness, but ultimately like creating this relationship with spirit, God, community, whatever you want to call it. For me, I don't have a problem saying God, you know. I used to, but I don't. It's like I'm not God. Like maybe God is working through me. I'm a facet of that.
Yes.
But to create this relationship with like the mega creator. And just like, how can I be helpful to that? What wants to happen?
Absolutely, bro. So,
but like I have to do something that helps remind me of that.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful to have, built a life around creativity where no matter what I do or say in my mind, I'm on this path of creativity, which, you know, I have my clients and I have accountability and people that I'm helping regardless of where I'm at in my mind, which is so, I feel so grateful for that, you know. But building a structure around my life that's built on how can I use my gifts, what's naturally a gift to me, like in the best way possible. You know, and so much of that is like figuring out what are our gifts. Like, I think every person has a certain flavor, a certain, you know, going back to the refraction of light, we each kind of have a different quality. We each have a different personality, and we're driven towards different things. And like, if we can figure out what that is and learn to give that on a daily basis,
it's a win-win-win.
It's what we want.
I'm in service to others, I'm in service to God, and I'm in service to myself, actually.
Yeah.
And the deeper I get on this path of selflessness, the more I realize, in a sense, you could also view it as selfish, because it's what feels the best for me in this individual being.
But like the higher self.
Exactly.
Rather than the small ego self. It's like selfish, but like the higher self that wants and needs like harmony with everybody too. Yeah.
And there's so many beautiful things I want to touch on. Right now, I want to go to this notion of what we talked about in the car, which I'm really stoked to talk about, which is two expressions of spirituality. Predominantly in a lot of Western monotheistic spiritual traditions, we have this notion of duality. I am not God. God is somewhere else. And actually, that is necessary in order to build a relationship. There cannot be relationship if we're all one, if we're all non-dual. You can't have it. It doesn't exist. In order for there to be relationship at all, there has to be separation. And I think that's beautiful, poetic, necessary, constructs a certain really desirable flavor of experience. But I think in what I've seen is that people get trapped when we solidify only the dualistic experience and really conceptual framework of spirituality. When I say we're separate, God is somewhere else. If that's the only flavor of spirituality I have access to, I'm in a sense building a cage in my own mind where I have closed off the other possibilities for experiencing God. And then in Eastern traditions, specifically non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, as well as Tantra, Buddhism, in some schools of Buddhism, there's kind of a knowing of, as they say, Tatvamasi. That's the Pali or Sanskrit for I am that. Anything that the mind can land on, I am also that. And that includes images of God. So there comes to be this non-dual, non-separate experience of God where I am in entirety a fractal of all of creation. And for me, both of those views, the non-dualistic experience of spirituality and the dualistic flavor of spirituality, are really useful at different times. And the key to freedom, the more meta level of freedom that I teach, that I really know works for me, is to actually have the flexibility of view. To say sometimes I'm in the non-dual experience of I am God. And sometimes that is not called for. And sometimes I need to humble myself and say, no, I am not that. It is so much more beyond me. And having the, again, malleability of mind to not solidify either of those stories, to be able to pick.
So my question with that, though, currently is like, I start to see this kind of cultural sense of spirituality that's kind of like a buffet. It's like, I'm going to take a little bit of this when it's helpful. I'm going to take a little bit of this. I'm going to humble myself here, but I'm God and everything here. My question is like, how do we know when it's time to pull from this tradition, pull from this tradition? I don't know. I'm currently in this place of exploring this idea of coming back to this realization of it. It is important to sort of, I don't know, maybe choose a tradition and stick with it, even when it seems to not be serving my sense of like self, or maybe it doesn't always make sense. But I'm like, I don't know that we can go on these, like, we can embark on this spiritual path in just a self-guided way.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah.
and I know you think about this too, but it's like, we definitely need community,
100%.
but then there's this deeper level of like embarking on the spiritual path alongside others who can keep us on the right path.
Yep.
And I can see how that could sound rigid, like there's a right path, but like, what if there like kind of is?
That beautiful question.
That's what I'm exploring, because I think for that feels more interesting to me than like there is no right path. Just explore what is feeling like resonant for your spirit right now. And I have no idea what's good for other people. I used to maybe kind of have this idea of like, let go of all religion and just like be and explore your own thing. But like, for me, at least, coming into deeper relationship with myself and my life and the people in it, I have this desire to be a part of a spiritual community with people who are doing it in a similar way, where it's not just like a buffet of spirituality. And I don't know what that looks like.
Right. Okay.
I have been going to Catholic Mass.
No way. Let's go.
But I'll go to like Catholic Mass, and then right after I'll go to like this Baptist church in Boulder.
Cool.
Like right after, which are like completely different flavors of Christianity.
Right.
It's been weird, dude.
I believe it. What do you mean when you say weird?
Like, it's weird to like see myself doing that. I mean, I grew up in the church. I then went to question everything. Science and philosophy were more of my like religion, or the thing that I felt like I was going to find some sort of like objective truth in.
Got tatted on 95% of your body.
Then got my ass handed to me over and over again with life, and like, and then, being in recovery communities where like having a higher power is a big part of it. And I'm like, I have this yearning to be a part of a spiritual community that's pursuing it in like a harmonious way. And it's not to say that this path is better than this path.
Right.
Even like for me, I don't even know. But I'm like, I do feel like it's important to kind of like choose a direction.
That's talked
and
about.
I think this idea could be applied to anything in one's life, right? Like, like at a certain point, like we see that we can do so many things in this life. We can create so many things. At a certain point, like it's time to pick something and really master that. Even if we don't know that that's the end all be all of like what I'm capable of doing.
I mean, we were just snowboarding today, and I get the image of when you're snowboarding, you got to pick a line. You can't pick all the lines. You got to pick one of the lines, or else you don't go anywhere. And I want to first say that I'm impressed with where you're at the spiritual path, which is trying on these different traditions. And I always point people, including myself, back to me. Back to the wisdom of the body. That's where the soul lives. And the body will tell you, is this resonant or is this not hitting? And that's the thing. Using the body as the compass, we get to find what tradition is fitting for this unique expression at this present moment in time. Not to, again, contract and say it has to be like this forever. But for you to follow the beauty and the poetry of the Christian tradition, I think is like admirable, and try on those
part of it is because it actually feels really challenging.
Say more to that.
Like part of it is not that it's like I go in and I just feel good. It doesn't necessarily feel like just resonant with my body in that moment, but there's something deeper than that feels this call to it, and it's also challenging. I'm challenged with my past in church, my past ideas of religion and God that were handed to me, that were, this is what reality is. This is heaven and hell. Right. These things are real. I had to grow out of that because that was like given to me. I didn't commit to that myself.
It wasn't you.
It
wasn't your soul.
And so then to explore these other areas and then come back to this tradition of Christianity, and confront some of those past fears about it and things that felt really rigid. It does feel challenging in my system. But I feel like I'm learning a lot in feeling that stuff.
Totally. And again, I want to honor that. The fact that you're willing to step into that challenge with these certain traditions and these worldviews that become real. It's like now all of a sudden,
it's definitely weird going into a Catholic mass and I'm like,
yeah, dude, completely
look like this.
Yeah,
you know,
Satan.
And I don't feel that from people, but I'm just like,
sure.
I feel so out of place.
Yeah.
And what is that? Why?
Interesting.
You know,
maybe yeah.
And I like that. I don't know. I'm like, that's interesting to me. I look and feel kind of out of place here, but I'm just totally not.
Right.
You know, I mean, look at this building and the way that it's adorned with geometry and sacred symbols. And like, I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah. Like religions are, I mean, they're beautiful adornments of reality. That's how I see it.
Those worldviews, we build those cathedrals in our minds. We build the temple in our mind, and it's projected onto everything we experience. But if people are really buying into the Hindu cosmology, the Christian cosmology, if you really buy into that, it's a temple in your mind, and it gets projected outwards. So for me, I love all of these paths, and at this point, I taste them as poetry. And a lot of people think if you come to this understanding of the emptiness of all of it, which is what Buddhism claims, is that actually you can never separate those experiences, those worldviews from the mind or the conditioning constructing them. And in that sense, they're simultaneously fabricated in mind, and also they're real. So in a sense, they're not real, but they're also real at the same time. And for me, I came to this point of just really craving, what the fuck is up with this place? What is real? Let me find that and devote my life to it. And it's interesting, when I was looking for reality, it took me directly into the void. And it's what's so interesting with that is when I'm, again, using the body as a compass, feeling into how does this feel to try on this worldview? If there's any sense of certainty, solidity, the absence of voidness, there's going to be tightness of like me actually just clinging to a view. That clinging is going to be contraction. Yeah. And actually, if you pay close attention to that, it can be very subtle or overt fear. And there's something in the being and actually in the experience of the ego, the separate self, that clings to solidity. Because if the ego is, well, the ego we experience is always going to be solid. There's a real me objectively. So if the world becomes fluid and empty, by definition, the ego does too. And that's actually an ego death.
I want to go back to that moment that you were like, to me, these things, these religions, that you experience them as like poetry. Yeah. That just like clicked in my mind. And then I started thinking about music. So this is a segue, so I can just talk about music.
Yeah. Jordan also makes sick music. Shout out Jordan.
Yeah, I've been making music way longer than I've been tattooing, which most of my followers don't know at all. But okay, what was I thinking? I was thinking, you experience these things as poetry, and I was thinking like, you can dabble in all these different sorts of arts and poetry, and I mean, we have access to millions of different artists and musicians at the click of a button. We have Spotify. We could go through and listen to anything you wanted. There's that, and then there's the lost this thing of like diving into one artist, listening to all of their albums. And like, that's such a rich experience that I don't, you know, the younger generations, like that's kind of like a lost thing of like getting really into this one artist, or maybe it is or not, I don't know, but I don't hear about it as much.
I hear you.
For me, so like Radiohead is someone that I will always listen to their albums, and there's just more and more to discover within that. I could be listening to all sorts of new music that's related and new creativity, but for me it's, and I don't know if it's a clinging, it kind of is. Sure,
but that's not wrong objectively.
But also like within that, there's so much exploration of like just a deeper understanding of like, oh, why did they put that lyric alongside that kind of weird sounding chord? What might they have been feeling? And there's so much reflection there. Yeah. And then that brings my mind to then like, I'm really fascinated by like lineages of genre. Totally. So like, you know, there's all this music out there, but to think about, you know, what are the things that inspired it? What are these like longer standing traditions that are weaving their way into it? That's why I love electronic music too. You can kind of trace the lineage of these different sounds that have been blended together over a really long time. I think of tattooing the same way. Like all the geometric patterning that I use comes from these different lineages that are way beyond me.
Totally.
I'm just a conduit to kind of curate these things in a new and fresh way that's unique and like original. But within like your tattoo, there's these shapes that resonate with all these different cultures.
Totally.
You know, I'm seeing like almost Tibetan inspired flame.
People say seeing Egyptian with the forearm thing.
Yeah, I see like Native American patterning. Yeah, it's just so much
inspiration.
So that ties into maybe where my interest in like spirituality and religion is like wanting to actually give these things time to understand these lineages and like understand the progression of how did we land on this text or like these certain beliefs, not just to take them for face value and just be like, okay, I feel better, I'm going home, never going to think about it again. That feels resonant and then forget about it, but like to study, you know,
where did they come from?
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's the study of beauty, really, but a much deeper, rich thing. And I see you doing that, you know, you study, you're a student of this stuff.
Totally.
You know?
I'm a slave to the beauty and I always fucking will be, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I love that you, again, touched on the topic of poetry and worldviews, recognizing again that we're all artists. We're all constructing worlds, whether we know it or not. A lot of those worlds are given to us by culture or religion, but we are choosing to believe in them and thus let them inform our world, let them construct our world. So for me, it's like trying on these different spiritual worldviews, or any worldview period. It can be the Hindu, the Buddhist, the Christian, or the atheist worldview. And recognizing they all build different experiences, that I can experience them as poetry, not as literal fact. This is the distinction that I really want to teach. We can experience all of life as poetry, as art, not as objective truth. And there is a slight distinction there that makes all the difference. It's looser. You can feel it in the being when we can. The way I word it is we can let the eyes adjust to the light of the void, the white light of clear seeing, of mind. When we let the eyes adjust to that, all of a sudden, it's the place to be. I don't actually need to solidify one path over the other. And again, I think there's a beauty in that, because I think there's certain experiences we can only touch through certain degrees of solidification of narratives, including worldviews. Certain experiences we can only access that way. The way I word it in practice is you can kind of let everything melt into emptiness, which is beautiful and deeply liberating, but you can't get consumed in the stories in the same way. So there's pros and cons to that. And it really brings us back to, what does your soul want? For me, my soul wanted objective, ultimate truth. And again, the deeper I got into truth, the deeper I got into void. And I let my eyes adjust. For me, because I had no choice. I was so deeply suffering. I hated myself and I hated life so much. I was like, give me any relief. And the void did that in deeper and deeper ways the more I started to question it, because I didn't just take it for granted. I'm like questioning this. Are you sure there's nothing that is really real beyond the mind? How can we know? And learning from different teachers, Robert Bea, Shinzen Young, Andrew Holacek, a lot of Buddhist teachers, because for me, Buddhism really takes us to that radicality of void, radicality of emptiness, to really illuminate to what depth is the mind constructing our experience right now and always has been? And can we embrace the fact that actually we don't need there to be a solid world, a solid self to be really good? And actually, it's embracing the void, the lack of solidity, that introduces you to what the Buddhists would call nirvana. There is no way that things are. There's no way that you are. Death, the past, the future, it's all actually in your mind right now, here in the present. And certain stories that we have about our past, about our future, about the way that the world is, can invoke experiences of torment, of fear. If I have a big scary God upstairs that's gonna fucking send me to hell for eternity if I jack off, bro, that's an interesting experience to try on. Pretty fucked in my opinion. But like that's a product of a certain worldview that we then make solid and real. So for me, actually, God has become synonymous with the void. If you put a label on it and you say, nah, my God's better than your God and I can prove it, it's too tight. And God cannot be put in a box. Everything that is the ineffable can never be pinned down, put in a box, and put a little bow on top and say, yep, that's how it is. What a naive human belief, in my opinion.
I think God is a man with a beard.
Yeah. Go on. Just like your boy.
I mean, that's just, no. I just think that's what he is. He's sitting on a cloud up there with
Daddy
a rope.
Upstairs. Do you actually believe that? Are you fucking with me? Okay, I was like, bro.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Well, for me, it's like, what's the...
No, I feel you.
What's the fruit of that?
Just trying to be funny.
Exactly. And I think it is fun. And I hate to like poke fun, but from my perspective of the radicality of void and openness that I've dipped my toes into, it seems silly. It's like, how could we ever hope to name the ineffable? It's all poetry. It's fingers pointing towards the moon. Mm-hmm. We can never fully explain the inexplicable. It's by definition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then we can, again, be free to float through different worldviews and experiences of self even, and not cling and solidify any of them. And this is where I think it's so fun to really dive in to the imaginal, archetypal expressions of self, recognizing I can be the lover, I can be the warrior, I can be the king. I can also be the archetype of the normal person or the archetype of a loser. These are imaginal figures that we try on, and it makes all the difference because it becomes what we are. Because in a deep, deep, real way, all that we are could be just reduced to image, to archetype. And those archetypes become us and we become them. And this is the necessity of, I think, storytelling. How in our culture, we have kids looking at fucking Jersey Shore, Love Island, absolute dog shit media, instead of being passed down like the Vedic myths, what is it, Mahabharata, like these epics, like Greek cosmology and it's not spirituality, Greek mythology is the word, because interestingly, we are also myths. We are living myths. And when I have Hercules to look up to, bro, when it's game time and it's time to be a hero, I have that image drawn and it becomes me. And we can start to play in this field of archetypal images without saying that's what I am. Seeing image as image, not as objective truth. Mm-hmm. This is the freedom. This is what you were speaking to about me, this kind of fearlessness, because I'm not afraid to express images because I see them all as images. It's not me, and it never could be. There is no me I could ever get to that exists beyond the images. So at that point, I'm free to fuck around, be spiritual fuckboy, to go on Playgirl, to do whatever the fuck I want, to be who I want, and to let spirit flow through me and to feel into those images. Because there's something like, because I'm in the modeling scene at this point. I just started, but like that image is limited and it's not what my soul craves. My soul craves something profound and prolific. And I want to live a myth that is deeply in service to all of creation. And that just shits on the fucking Zoolander male model type shit, which is kind of fucking hilarious. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It's
a lot in that. I know.
Bars.
Unload. Thank you, bro.
Limitlessness, freedom, exploration.
Boundless.
It's what I feel from you a lot. And it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot that we could do and are doing.
The paradox of choice, right?
I don't know. I feel, maybe I'll relate this back to music because it's so much. I think this is probably why I do art and music, because I'm like, let's kind of simplify things down to this thing that like I can explore these things within this box of like creativity. But like with music lately, I spent so long being like, I could try this on. I could try this on. I could have this genre fused with this. What would that be like? And like, I'm at this place now where I feel kind of burned out and I'm like, I feel like I need more limitation.
Yes.
I feel like I need to limit my process to some pretty rigid parameters to actually breed more creativity. Yeah. And it's just a different way of doing it. And I feel like that's kind of where you're going in like starting to solidify your own path. I don't know. I want to talk more about like what's next for you, because I feel like there's this focusing of all these like limitless possibilities on these things that you can try on into like, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? What is your like decision? What is your action in how you're proliferating these ideas and giving them in the most valuable way possible.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
So my image, my vision for myself is actually, this is kind of vulnerable to say, none other than actually like a shift in paradigm in collective human consciousness. Because I know it's possible. And what I want to acquaint people with is, again, the void. Because for me, that is a direct experience of God. Everything else is just an image. It's just a concept. Only when we get to the ineffable, to that which we cannot pinpoint, that's God.
How are you going to do that for people?
So there's practices. Luckily, this is the beauty of the Buddha's teachings. Yeah. Practices that introduce you to deeper and deeper experiences of void, not just conceptually, but ones you feel in your being.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's been taught for over 2,500 years, you know, so this is not breaking news. It is to most of the Western world. And it's so different than like solidified experience. So it seems very abstract and kind of exotic at first, but it's just, again, at its core, the way that things are. Because for me, Buddhism is not a dogmatic belief system. In the words of the Buddha himself, there's a Pali phrase, ehipassiko, which translates as "come see for yourself." Don't just take my words for it. Yeah, maybe they resonate with something deep in the heart, with deep knowings that we actually already have. But until you see it with your own eyes, it's just words. But that's where the practices come in.
Is it like meditation, or what are like the?
Yeah, so you can have what's called, sort of more, meditative, deep states of samadhi, which is a word that kind of gets translated as meditative absorption, where the experience of a self, first thoughts fade and you enter into these bliss bodies, deep peace. And then as you get deeper into the really unfabricated states of being, the experience of a material body starts to fade. This is the fourth jhana. This is a level of, again, samadhi, meditative absorption, where just when the mind calms and actually stops clinging, because when mind clings, it constructs something also to cling to or to push away. This is the smoke and mirrors that is what we call dualistic experience.
So what I'm picking up is like, it's like sharing these practices.
Yeah.
But like, also, I think probably you using your voice to convey ideas.
And so that's it too.
You have a gift of being able to explain things that are hard to explain, paradoxes that are hard to paradox, and helping people to dissolve their rigid views of these things, and through sharing through your voice.
Exactly. So that's the thing too, recognizing that the world we're experiencing,
hence why we're on this podcast.
Exactly.
This is your medium.
Dude, it was like the path opened up to me, like just being on this podcast. My homie Daniel's podcast, Breaking Normal, I was on that. And then Yuval, the studio manager, was like, bro, when are you doing your podcast? And like, he got me going on this, and it was like a opportunity that fell in my lap. Because like, I've just been waiting for the opportunity to have long form content with solid production to just crank this shit out. Because a matter of time until people are like, what the fuck did this dude just say? That's crazy as fuck. Like literally, I started making content because I didn't see a motherfucker on social saying the shit that I'm saying. And I'm not saying that from an ego sense, but it was like my deep truth of the voidness and the implications of the voidness that I don't see anyone talking about. Even in new age spiritual circles, there's still a solidity and a rigidity in the view. And I'm like, this is still a cage. This is still a cage. So I was like, if I don't see anyone doing it, I'll be the motherfucker to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I took that chance, and now I'm vulnerable as hell on my socials, cringy as hell sometimes, and I'll acknowledge that, bro. It's a product. Being cringy is a product of authenticity. What's interesting, when people call you cringy, it's because your self-expression is triggering something in them.
Yeah,
it's a mirror and something that they can't accept or express.
I think you could crack more jokes.
I should crack more jokes, and that's dude. So that's
I'm talking to myself as I say that. I'm like, I can get real serious too,
and that's part
bringing
of
a flavor of like, that's why I like the spiritual fuckboy thing. That just makes me laugh. I'm just like,
that's what I'm saying, bro. It's hilarious. Just like, it doesn't make sense. It's so funny.
Yes, but like, bring the fun into like
deep topics
that tend to be real like overwhelming,
right,
and like too big for anybody to like really be able to hold, and just like make it funny.
And there's like a sacredness and a necessity in the humor where it breaks that tension, so that these conversations can sink more deeply. Because bro, at the end of the day, I'm just spiritual fuckboy. If you think I'm insane, guess what? You're listening to spiritual fuckboy.
You ever listen to Tara Brach?
I fuck with Tara Brach. Yeah.
She's dope.
She is dope.
I
Radical
like
acceptance.
She tells so many stories, like little parables. Like there were 3 monks that went to the thing. Like every single talk she gives, I don't know where she gets all these stories.
Probably from amassing them from other talks.
But usually they end with some kind of punchline.
Totally.
And she doesn't seem like somebody who's like that funny in the way that she talks. Right. But she shares all these little like blips that just like bring this, I don't know, just this like funny, like, because yeah, I think we can, you know, we can explore reality. We can break it down. We can do all this stuff like till we're dead. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like the funny thing is we're like also like totally wrong.
Always. We always will
no matter what. Like,
yeah.
You know, and like that's just been something that's always resonated with me. And like in my psychedelic explorations in my early 20s, a lot of it was like I was just trying to like figure out reality, but like things would come back and just be like, that's funny. Like it just, things would be hilarious, bro, that I was even like trying to figure it out. Yeah. And like that brought me so much peace.
Totally,
like,
dude.
You know?
Totally. And I think there's something again essential about humor in that it breaks the ice. It allows for more fluidity and flexibility in the story. And I put it kind of like this, like when everything is so tight, when our whole world is tight, it's either atheism, Christianity, right, wrong, oh my God, all of these solid, dense views. All of a sudden, there's also a very solid sense of self and a very solid experience that can shatter. If things don't go according to plan and it goes, AWOL, then we can shatter when everything is so tight and solid. And there's something about the fluidity of experience in which you cannot shatter. You can't break in the same way when everything's fluid. And it's a beautiful poetic image, but it's true. Like if you throw a hammer at a window, it's fucked because it's so solid. If you throw a hammer at some water, that's, it makes a little wave and it's chilling. And that's the thing. We can have minds like water, fluid, flexible, malleable, that is impervious to the effects of the world. Because the world can throw shit at you, but when you have a malleable interpretation of those experiences, you can choose it. You can choose the darkness, losing someone you love, trauma in your life. You can choose that as, why me? Why did life have to fuck me? Or you can view it as a gift from the angels, recognizing the value in the darkness, which I think is so necessary in life. And that actually changes and flavors the experience differently. So it's like when everything's fluid, we are free. Deeply free. And we can still try on solidity, but for me it's a feeling in the body where it's like when things get very tight, it's not even in my mind, I can feel it. And it's like this is where mindfulness comes in meditation, because I'm aware of the subtle discomfort in those solid views, where I'm like, when there's a real ego, even if people prop me up and like, oh, you're so wise or you're so pretty, like I don't see it as me, because if I took it as an ego compliment, all of a sudden now I'm standing on this pedestal and I'd better make sure that I always look good and I always sound smart, and it's too much fucking pressure, bro. Just let it all collapse and just be you and get out of the way to let spirit flow through us. And then again, spirit seems to hit that shit every time. It doesn't miss.
Bars, bro.
So I think we gotta wrap it up in a minute, but I know
that went quick.
It went hella quick, dude. I mean,
that's great. Whoa, that was an hour and 18 minutes.
Yeah, bro. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Jordan, I want to give you a chance to shout out your beautiful workings, your projects, tattooing, music stuff.
Shout out to all my clients out there who I love so much.
What's your IG?
My IG is just my name, Jordan Lempe. Most people don't know how to say my last name.
It's kind of like Tempe, Arizona.
Lempe. I think that's how you say it. I don't know where it's from.
Dutch or
Some people are like Lempe, and I'm like, I don't know. I just always said Lempe.
Yeah.
JordanLempe. Yeah. That's my Instagram. I'm doing tattoos, slanging yaddies.
Sick tattoos.
And I'm out here creating, making drawings. I want to do more murals. I want to make music. I want to like collaborate musically with more people.
Let's play guitar.
So
bro.
Music producers out there, we gotta jam. We jam like this all the time.
Literally.
But yeah, dude, more collaboration, more jamming, more creativity. I'm gonna plug my art club.
Yeah,
I've got an art club that I started. It's weekly every Sunday. Half the time it's in Boulder, half the time it's in Denver. And it's cool. It's just like let's come draw together. You don't even have to be an artist. Half the people there are like, I haven't drawn in like 10 years. But I'm like, it just feels really good to hold a place for people to gather weekly. It's simple. It's a simple idea, but it's been really fun and cool. And we have interesting conversations. Sometimes the room's silent. We're all just like getting down on our own thing. Beautiful. So check out my Instagram for Art Club and come check out my studio up in Lyons, Colorado. It's a beautiful space. Soulhawk. It's a temple of creativity. And that's about it, dude.
Thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Thank you for having me.
This was one of my favorite conversations.
Let's do it again for sure. I feel like we could delve into any number of those.
Yeah, we got hours to go.
Yeah. This is just what we do.
Exactly.
We're just like driving up to snowboard and we're just like riffing.
Exactly.
So I'm down anytime. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for letting me practice using my voice and like my physical body to actually express things. Thank you for doing it, bro.
The world needs you, man. You're a real artist, and I mean that.
Thank you.
So,
yeah. Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. You will see Jordan again sometime real soon.